Originally, I planned to fly the ship with a nanocore, to be specific. I maxed out the Burning Knight nanocore, full repair bonuses, as well as some stats for damage and stuff like that, but primarily armor repair. But you still can't use the old nanocores on the new ships. Should have been added in the last update, but it wasn't. I have no idea why, but in any case, today I'll be flying this thing without a nanocore unfortunately, but it should still be quite fun to see what the Hyperion bomber can do. Now obviously this is a Hyperion hull, it will have armor repair bonus as well as some armor hit point bonus. The most hilarious stat point on this is definitely the shield extender in the roll bonus, because who will fit shield extenders on this thing? Definitely not me. In any case, I'll be flying this ship and it will be one of my PvP ships. It usually will be built in a very similar way to my old Hyperion, but I will be playing around with the build to see what will work. And this is currently the build that I have: dual Nosferatus, a web scrambler, dual repairs, 3 adaptive hardeners, and 8 damage control. It is capacitor stable, and just to verify what I said earlier, as you can see, still no support for the older nanocores. Now I actually maxed out the Burning Knight nanocore. I think I'm getting around 75-80% extra armor repair out of the nanocore alone, so it should be a pretty fat bonus on armor repair. And I think I'm should be around 9,000 to 10,000 armor repaired per repairer, and I can have like 3-4 of them to be capacitor stable as well. Now you might be wondering, well, why are the rigs on this ship cheap? Let me tell you, when I saw the prices of the rigs, on the armor rigs, they skyrocketed. 500 million per rig. Yeah, people lost their minds on the market. So I had to just go with something much of a cheaper option, but the total effect is, I would say, still good, and I can always steal the integrations from my Balgorn, which would work really well for the Hyperion as well. So if I ever decide to stop flying the Balgorn, I'll steal the rigs from the Balgorn and add them to this thing, which would be fun, since the Balgorn has 4 P70 or 4 P60 rigs installed. 500,000 hit points, 85 to 82%. Now the overall armor stats here are balanced, so I'm pretty happy with how the numbers look, and obviously capacitor stable with 2 Nosferatus. The main thing that helps the capacitor is definitely the Bastion module or the Citadel module. 5.4 thousand armor repaired every 6.25 seconds. Not bad, obviously not the best as well, but I'll take it. It's acceptable, and it's even more acceptable when you consider the fact that you can add like 2 more repairs and still be capacitor stable on the ship, which means you can repair around 20,000 in this current state of the ship. 20,000 armor every 6 seconds, or around 40,000 armor with the Burning Knight nanocore that I have maxed out, which is not bad, since 40,000 hit points is no small number, or around 30,000 with 3 repairs, and with 3 repairs it's also capacitor stable. So I think I am on the right track to build something fairly tanky. Now 3 repairs is most likely what I'm going to be using. I'm kind of torn between 2 repairs with extra tank or 3 repairs with a damage control and 2 adaptives. We'll have to do a bit of testing with that, but I think 2 repairs might be okay with the nanocore. I mean, that's already 20, around 20, just a bit more than 20,000 armor repaired every cycle.
Undocking.
So I think that should be more than enough. Also is pretty much capacitor stable. So I might go with the build with 2 armor repairs. I mean, it really depends. I'm still kind of a fan of resistance over repair, but on this ship, going full resistance and kind of ignoring the repair is kind of feels like a crime, to be honest, especially when you have such a beautiful bonus on repair.
Docking request
So
accepted.
I think I'll go with repair on this ship, but we will have to see. I mean, I might change my mind down the road as I usually do, which is honestly a good thing, since that way I ended up building some of the most iconic ships in the past, and for repairs, just for the lols and giggles. Honestly, the old Hyperion
Undocking.
had numbers like these that I have right now on this ship. And that was a very expensive Hyperion, with very expensive integrations. With that extra module that you have, that's a game changer. I mean, it does 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Okay, that's probably because I don't use the integrated engineering rigs. I can technically steal those from the Balgorn as well and add that on the Hyperion bomber, since the Balgorn does have the best possible combination for capacitor, and I think that might add an extra 3 minutes on this ship, which would be pretty
Docking
amazing
request
actually.
accepted.
But 4 repairs does feel like an overkill, and on this ship definitely overkill. I mean, might work in some cases. Also, I mean, this is pretty much the old Hyperion build I used to run. Quad repairs, that thing was unthinkable at the time. Kind of want to do something similar with this ship, and with this ship obviously I can do a lot more crazy stuff because of the extra module and because of the nanocore. I forgot if I had the burn. I think I did have the burn. Yeah, I did. I did have the burn night nanocore on the Hyperion back in the day, and I used to fly it. Only because I got nanocore. That's the reason why I had the ship. Glad I actually didn't reprocess the nanocore. It would be a big disappointment if they don't allow that nanocore onto this ship. Okay, 2.3 million with the damage troll, 470,000 hit points without the damage troll. Honestly, it's not bad. And very important factor on this ship, it has a lot of armor. Definitely has a lot of armor. With the nanocore, I actually did gold the nanocore, and I think I gave it a extra armor resistance, not the resistance, but armor volume bonus. Has a lot more hit points now. It's a maxed out gold and nanocore. That's I specifically golded for this ship. So hopefully it will be available very soon. I think I should get around 150, 175,000 armor hit points, which is actually very, very wild. They do have good armor repair, at the same time they also have a lot of armor hit points, so it's a very good combination on the Hyperion. And does the build with 1 repair work? This is actually something I've been curious about for a while. With the nanocore, I would have close to 10,000 or around 10,000 armor repair, which does mean 1 armor repair on this thing with that nanocore would repair like 4 or 3 repairs on a ordinary ship. So technically 1 repair will be able to repair as much as like 3 or 4 Does that mean a build like this would actually be maybe the best, since now I actually have very good resistance
Undocking.
and technically very good repair? Obviously not going to be able to repair as much as 2 repairs on this ship, but it still is able to repair a lot, since it has a bonus on repairs and of course a bonus with nanocore. I mean, so many questions to answer. Almost 600,000 hit points, 73,000, 87 to 84%, and repairs 5.4 thousand armor every 6.2 seconds, which obviously with the nanocore will be much higher, much more higher than this. So it is honestly like difficult for me to figure out what will I fly primarily, since all of the builds look
Docking
attractive
request accepted.
in their own way. I mean, at the end of the day, every single build here will probably be good for a certain situation. The thing is, which build here would be the best in my situation? And that is a question that I don't really know the answer to. Also pretty funny that you can get the ship to be capacitor stable with 1 repair, 3 webs and a scrambler,
Undocking.
only because of the Citadel Bastion module. Actually, let's see how much capacitor is. Well, not bad at all actually. That's some decent stability there. So yeah, 1 repair technically should be able to work. But I think dual armor repairs is like
Docking
the norm.
request accepted.
I never really like to use a single large armor repair unless it was on a cruiser. On a cruiser class ship, battlecruiser, it is acceptable. But on a battleship, I feel like 2 should be like minimum. And I think I might stick with that with the Hyperion bomber as well. And this is a ship that I'll be flying. I always wanted to have something as tanky as this, and yeah, this ship is staying. Will be a ship that I'll be working on. I mean, there's not much to work on really. Already ready. It just needs an nanocore in order for me to actively use it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think this is going to be no 2 or 3 armor repairs. I think 3 might be what I might go for eventually, but 2 also seem to get the job done. So let's take this thing for a little ride,
Warp drive
and
active.
let's have some fun with the Hyperion bomber. Now, I will purposefully let my armor get severely damaged. I just want to see how fast it's going to be able to recover armor. It is very important to, visualize the repair speed, since my old Hyperion, the old Hyperion that I used to fly back in the day, that thing, I think it had like 34,000 or 35,000 armor hit point, or that. Didn't really have a lot of armor hit point, but it was able to repair like 20,000 with a full cycle. So repair wise, it's actually very similar to what I have. When I say very similar, I actually think it's nearly identical to what I have on this ship. And I think I also use like C type, or not C type, A or even X type repairs. So the fact that I'm able to outperform the old Hyperion build with this ship with a very cheap build, I think that alone is very impressive. Since that ship was, at the time, that was before implants, before everything, that thing was ridiculously tanky. If it had capacitor, that ship was not going down, since I was able to recover 80% of armor in a single cycle, and I can do that for like nearly indefinitely. The only ship that was able to do something on that Hyperion was a Balgor, since it would kill my capacitor, and with no capacitor you can't really repair. On this ship here, for example, they should have some form of capacitor resistance. I think it does have, but the sheer armor repair strength is much higher. And the new Citadel module helps a lot with
Shield damaged.
with the capacitor. I mean, 50% faster recharge is no joke, or 30% fast recharge is definitely no joke. Also, it gives a higher percent bonus on armor and shield boost, which is honestly the best thing about the new ships. Now my DPS here, I'm using the thermocirculation implant by the way, but my DPS here is not bad. My nanocore though, the Burning Night nanocore, I did get some damage stats on that as well. I mean, not every single stat on the Burning Night nanocore is a repair stat. I wish it was, but unfortunately it isn't. You do get some bonus on damage, but primarily I did get a repair where I can get repair. After all, that's the main thing on the nanocore. It's a nanocore designed for armor repair, and I can't really wait to show you the nanocore in action, because it will be very silly to. I wish it was a nanocore for the Balgorn or any other ship, but I feel like it would do well on the Hyperion bomber. I mean, it's definitely better than the Hyperion. It's more expensive, that's for sure, and much more skill intensive. But you know, at the end of the day, I'll be happy with the nanocore on the ship. At least, I mean, first ever nanocore that I actually maxed out, and first ever nanocore that I golded, because it's worth it on the ship. I rarely do that. Obviously, I rarely do that, since that's expensive business. But for this ship, it's worth it, because now it can tank a lot of damage, and as my friend said, it's overpowered. It is indeed overpowered. Funny how defense is skyrocketing with the last couple updates. And of course, I can get a defense implant. Maybe I will. It's ridiculously expensive at the moment, and I obviously don't have ISK. So yeah, but the defense implant would work really well on this. And I'll let my armor, as I mentioned before, I'll let my armor get damaged. On purpose. I turned off the adaptive hardeners so that the armor can, you know, go low faster. Now, even with the Citadel module, Bastion module active, you might struggle to hit stuff up close. I would say, at least on this ship, dual webs. One web is definitely not going to be enough. Dual webs minimum if you want to hit smaller targets. I also love how my blasters got bugged. Didn't want to stop shooting at the frigate, at the interceptor. It took a minute or two for the game to listen to commands. But yeah, at least 2 webs and a scrambler on this ship. One web obviously not going to be enough, even with the new module giving you a 50% bonus on tracking, which I would say is okay. I mean, would be really funny if you were able to just laser stuff up close with no penalty. You can speed tank these ships up close if they don't have webs. However, in my case here, this ship is most likely not going to be used against frigates. My target with the Hyperion bomber will usually be battleships and stuff like that. Battleships that are very tanky. Basically, it will be tank versus tank while I'm flying the ship. After all, armor for PvP is really good. And speaking of armor, the Hyperion bomber will be a menace in armor fleets. Can you imagine flying a bunch of these ships with armor logi, with an armor guardian as well, with the armor implant, remote repair implant? Can you imagine? You can easily get like a 99% fleet of Hyperion bombers with crazy high armor repair, and that alone kind of scary to think about. I don't know if these ships are used. I think they are starting to be used in a fleet. I mean, they have bomb launchers, and the bomb launchers by itself will be buffed. I'm definitely almost 100% positive on that. However, now I think in a fleet, the energy neutralizing bombs are probably the bomb that you will see the most. Very good against capitals, to kill the capital ship's capacitor, and then they can't repair, and then you just shoot them down quickly. Definitely very interesting use for these ships, and not only with the bomber battleships. You can do the same thing with the bombers as well. A bomber fleet with energy neutralizing bombs and dampeners to hunt capital ships. Yeah, that just sounds like fun, because it is fun. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I'm fairly sure there are bomber fleets running around with bombs nowadays. But the opportunity and tactics and the idea is there. The idea is there. So, my armor is... yeah, it's the third wave. Okay, third wave usually the most serious wave. Well, I mean serious. It's definitely not going to be serious at all. I'm not really worried about the third wave here. But very soon I'll be turning on the armor repairs just to see how fast will this thing be able to recover the armor. And this is also going to serve to compare with the future build with the nanocore, because I believe the difference is going to be quite big. I honestly believe the difference is going to be huge. Okay, time to spin up the armor repairs. We are at 28%, 49%. Okay, so a around 25 armor repair per cycle. That's not bad at all. That's pretty good. And there we go. Full armor. Now, just for a test, I will let the repairs run indefinitely, just to see how the capacitor would handle the stress, and just to see how long the ship can run with dual Nosferatus, with everything basically up and running. With the old Hyperion, I used to have a maneuver called the CHONK mode, where I built the ship in such a way that I was able to run the four repairs only on 2 Nosferatus indefinitely, if the ship is not using the blasters, webs or scrambler. So I was able to use Nosferatus and repairs, and of course the adaptives and stuff like that, but it was unable to shoot or do anything else. Very curious to see if I can do the same thing with the classic Hyperion. One big difference though is in the ship's capacitors. The Hyperion bomber has a much larger capacitor, so the overall capacitor usage, while being the same or maybe slightly higher because of the general unit, it will last longer. because of the extra capacitor volume, and obviously because of the Citadel module, which does give me some extra recharge time. Well, again, very important. The Citadel module is definitely the most important module on any Marauder bomber class in this game. And what do I think about the Hyperion bomber? Well, I mean, I like the ship. Obviously, I'm going to fly it. A bit slightly disappointed that I wasn't able to get nanocore installed today. I mean, I was literally waiting for this nanocore to be. I was waiting for this day, for the update, because the developer said on the next maintenance the nanocore will be available. Next maintenance arrived and the nanocore is not available. Now I know that they had some problems with I know the update was delayed. I blame the update, the delay on the update, because we don't have the new nanocore. Well, not new nanocore, but I blame the update, honestly. Something happened and they cancelled it for the last update. Doesn't mean that it's never going to arrive. It will be right. It will arrive definitely, but I'm getting a little bit impatient myself because I was waiting day after day after day just to see how much repair I'll get on this ship with the Burning Night nanocore, because honestly I thought that would be pretty fun to see, and I wanted to make a pretty broken ship. So that's kind of the thing that ruined my plans, but nonetheless I'm really happy with this ship. Honestly, these ships are so good. I don't have any complaints about them. Maybe price and IP cost. They're not as expensive as they would be if they didn't change the whole IP thing, but the IP cost is definitely still higher than the ordinary ships. Understandable though, since the Marauders are still kind of a top tier advanced ship, so that's the reason why they also have the price tag on them. But honestly, at the end of the day, the ship is amazing. I continue to be very happy with the bomber battleships, and the next one that I'll be taking a look at will be the rock bomber. That one will be the fourth one, and I think it will also be quite interesting to see how that ship would perform. But so far, this ship right here is going to be my, well, not primary, but it is going to enter into the PvP ship lineup that I have. Will be used for certain heavily armored targets or heavily shield tank targets, and I think it will get the job done. I mean, I can also use the Balgon for it, but I really want to see how this ship would work. And well, with that being said, that would be it for today. That was the Hyperion bomber. Honestly, an amazing ship, and pretty happy with how it works so far. Cannot wait for the nanocore to be installed. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.